Concerns about the rise of populism and America's budding trade war with China are rampant at the World Economic Forum. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns has more from Davos, Switzerland.
Much has been made about world leaders who aren't here in Davos, but today it was about those who are present and potentially filling a void. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and German Chancellor Angela Merkel gave keynote addresses here today, giving warnings about issues like trade and the rise in populism. Abe will be hosting the G20 summit in Japan later this year. He warned about the risk a U.S.-China trade war could pose for the global economy and called for rebuilding trust in world trade.
Japan is determined to preserve and committed to enhancing the free, open, and rules-based international order. I call on all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to rebuild trust toward the system for international trade.
And for her part, German Chancellor Merkel took a not-so-subtle swipe at President Trump's America First doctrine.
We see this in all our countries. We have populist challenges. We have nationalist movements. We have to stand up against them. But maybe the battle lines are clearer drawn in this way. I will, together with my colleagues in Germany, in the cabinet, come out strongly in favor of a multilateral order, not ending with the European Union, but to see to it that it is one that really gives good answers to the challenges of tomorrow, which means that the existing order cannot be ruined in such a way that no one believes in the validity of the international system anymore.
While President Trump wasn't here in Davos, his policies were very much a topic of conversation. Earlier today, I sat down with Dr. Abdullah, who is the chief executive of Afghanistan, and he said Trump's absence did not go unnoticed.
Everybody talks about it. Everybody. Go shake hands somewhere and say, look, there are serious talks about it. There are also less serious comments about it. And they say that, look, Davos is, this year it's 300 cars less. But yes, as a global player, the absence of the U.S. delegation is felt.
I also spoke with Dr. Abdullah about Trump's call to remove troops from Afghanistan and the risks that could pose to the region.
Of course, the decision is for the U.S. administration to make. And also it depends, what does that mean? Is it a partial withdrawal? Is it something which happens in the course of time? Does it happen abruptly and the cut down is drastic? These are all the issues which are related to that question. And from one side, we do understand that since it has been a long war, obviously there will be views about it. At the same time, a lot of sacrifices have been made in blood and treasure, Afghans and internationals, including the U.S. I don't think that anybody wished to put those sacrifices in vain. A drastic, abrupt withdrawal will have serious consequences.
President Trump, in a recent press conference, said that the Soviets were right to intervene in Afghanistan. What does that tell you about his worldview? And are you at all concerned about the U.S.-Russia relationship as it stands today?
I may talk about that part of our history. And there was nothing right about Soviet invasion of our country. The Soviets were not threatened by Afghanistan or anybody from Afghanistan. They wanted to impose a communist regime, which there was a resistance against them. And then the Soviets themselves regretted the invasion. And I was part of the resistance at that time against the Soviet occupation of our country. And so were millions of other people, and we made big sacrifices. That's the history. If there is a little bit of different perceptions about it, I will not relate this to anything contemporary. The President of the United States has views of different countries. Today it's up to him, and we respect it, and we are not concerned about it. We are when President Trump announced South Asia policy, we welcomed it. The region also welcomed it, which Afghanistan is part of that. And the rest of it is, I think, for the U.S. people to judge and to comment about it.
And Tanya, we should note that shortly before coming to Davos, Dr. Abdullah announced his candidacy for president of Afghanistan. He dodged questions I asked about his campaign platform, but he said that change is needed for the country.